Thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to be hearing from Robin here as she's going to share a little bit about some personal recommendations of how we can individually resist consumerism, how we can try to take some practical steps in resisting overconsumption in our own lives. And you can read her blog post by clicking the link in the description below. Remember to like and share this episode with a friend or family member, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss future episodes. And leave a comment below. Let us know your thoughts or your questions. If you have other ideas of some practical suggestions on how we can resist consumerism. And so, Robin, how have you personally tried to overcome the consumeristic tendencies you've seen in yourself?
So when I think of consuming in my life, I think of what appeals to my eyes, what I see out in the stores, or what I see as something I should have that. I think that would be great. And then what the changes that I've made has been more like repurposing things. So when I got my house, I needed some furnishings in my house. Well, instead of going out and purchasing those items, I actually had either items given to me or items that I already had, and I repurposed them. Maybe I painted them, or I changed them to be a little different. And then I wasn't consuming again and again and again, especially the quality would be better even sometimes of keeping the same item instead of tossing it and getting something else. So repurposing has helped. I also have started borrowing, and actually I think in the past that was something that I didn't really want to do because, what if I break it? What if something happens to it? But it's actually been good to borrow because it's helped me with relationships, like with my neighbors or the people that I'm borrowing from. And so that's actually happened a couple times. One time I was actually looking to borrow something to help another neighbor, and I didn't have what they needed. So those are good things. But I think the biggest thing for me has been changing my thoughts on entertaining versus hospitality. And what I mean by that is I no longer feel like I have to have all these matching things or things that are cute to have somebody over. Everything has to be in place. We've really been working on taking what we have and using it to be hospitable. And if we don't have certain things, I've noticed that nobody really even cares because they're so glad to just be together. And so we've been trying to do some more having people over, for instance. And I know in the past I had friends that I thought, oh wow, all their items match and look so nice, and all of their kitchen items are like this and whatever. And now I have a mixture of different things, and it doesn't bother me. And it's never been a thing. It just was all in my head that it was important. And so, anyhow, the focus has changed personally. So that's helped.
Yeah. I get what you mean. And we can feel those messages coming from the culture saying you need to have all these nice matching fancy things. So how have you seen churches as a whole group of people resist the consumeristic culture and form a different way of living that kind of gives a different example to the community around them?
That was a little harder for me to think about, but when I started thinking of in the past where I've seen churches get caught up in consumerism, it's been a lot of we can just pay for that. It's in the budget. We can do that. And what I've seen more recently, I would say, is I'm seeing meals shared, potlucks instead of we'll just buy and have it all catered. which just brings people together, which is great. But probably the biggest one that I've seen since I've lived in Oregon is when churches repurposed their building use, and they're not just being used on a Sunday and then staying closed all week. I've seen, we have one church now that's doing a care pantry. We have also seen, though, some churches that have opened up their sanctuaries or their foyers for the homeless to come in out of the cold. That was a huge one for me to see. I was so grateful for that. Repurposing their building, it just made so much sense. If we're supposed to be helping people and God's given us these things, and so it's become, we have other church partners that we have a furniture warehouse at one of them. That to me is, instead of consuming, they're repurposing donated items. And so I think those are really great ways that the churches fought against that.
Yeah, those are some great examples. So real quick, last question. What struggles might one face when they are shifting their mindset from focusing on their personal possessions, on their self-interest, to having all things in common in their community? That's one phrase you kind of used a lot from Acts, having all things in common. What kind of challenges might they face in that shift of mindset?
Well, I think you first have to change your mindset to everything I have is God's for me to manage. These are not my things. It is not by my strength. It's by the strength that God gave me to be able to have certain things or do certain things. And so I think that's the big struggle for all of us. It's very easy to think, this is mine, and this extra I'll give to God. Or if I have extra, I'll share it with others. I don't think it's real easy for us to think sacrificial giving. A lot of us aren't there yet, working on it. But one of the things that comes to my mind, it was when I lived in Mexico years ago. I saw this, and it was so beautiful, and it has really helped me. So I had some friends get a knock at the door, and they were living in pretty impoverished living situation by our standards, for sure. And there was a knock at the door, and somebody came and said, God told me to come and give you this money. And there was an envelope with some cash in it, which my friends, I would right away say they could really use that money. They had medical expenses, they had all kinds of expenses. And when I watched them just say thank you, after the door closed, they stopped and they prayed and asked God, is this for us, or are we supposed to pass this to someone else? They had no thought of assuming it was for them. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, for me? If somebody showed up my door with money, I would just go, wow, thank you so much. I wouldn't even think, and God is blessing me, and I wouldn't even think about, was it meant to give to me to pass to somebody else? And that just changed a lot. So I think our struggle is going to be staying focused on being dependent on God, trusting Him, that if I pass on what has come to me, that more is coming, or I didn't need it to begin with, or there's another plan, and let go and just surrender those things to God.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that's hard, but yeah, I get what you're saying. It's the call God gives to us. Yeah, thanks for your suggestions this week, Robin, and your words to us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a great week.